Welcome to another review of a Sea Beauty palette. We're talking today about Choice Beauty. This is the Cold Butterfly palette, and if you were like, wait, has she talked about Choice Beauty? I have actually two palettes from them, two smaller 6-pan palettes. One is in the maybe pile, the Cold Moon, and the other one that I have here is the Mauve palette. If you remember this, everybody and their mother loves this palette because it's such a beautiful gothic-y color story that was very on trend last year. And in the beginning of 2025, the trend is very much into ices, into dead people colors, into desaturated blues and greens and all that. So the Cold Butterfly, when we take when we take a look inside, definitely serves this. It has a very interesting mix of these desaturated blues together with cool tone pinks, mauvey dusty rose colors, and then swamp greens. If we take here a look at the swatches, there is nothing exciting or like critical that I can tell you. They swatch nice, they swatch a bit dry. I don't want to say that they swatch patchy, but they take a little bit of build up to become this opaque color that I show you here. Overall, today in this video, I will show you 3 looks with the palette, and since this is an all matte eyeshadow palette, I of course will incorporate some extras. You will see some liquid eyeshadows and you will see some Sea Beauty single eyeshadows that I have here, all in the tutorials. If you want to get this palette or anything else, make sure to check out Look Healthy store. They were so kind to send me this palette once again in PR so that I can test it out for you. And my code with Look Healthy store is ELLAGRAM. That will save you 12% and it's an affiliate code. So now let's head over to the 3 looks. I'm starting with the dusty pink down here and use this as my transition color. Hopefully it works the way I planned, because I want to do the most intimidating look first, the ones with the olivey, swampy greens. And there is no real transition color for that. So let's just try it. I go into that swamp shade here first. And that one I apply directly in my crease. Bring it all the way through it. And then blend it upwards into the pink. I build it up by 2.5 layers, I would say, so that I have a little bit more concentrated color in the crease and then more of a blown out look towards the brows. I then go into the dark brown next to it, but it has a lot of olive undertones. Use this on the outer V area for more depth. And then I take the brush that I used the olive green with no additional product, and I just diffuse any edges here around the crease. The cool thing with all matte palettes is I can incorporate my single cream eyeshadows, all the single eyeshadows in general, and I decided to pair this specific look with the Rituel, the Fille, whether they call it the Ash and Ember eye suits in the shade Olivine. It's a green shade. I think I showed you this one already in a look, but I'm not too sure. I wanted to incorporate Sea Beauty singles. I have a few here, but I don't think it's a big surprise when I tell you I don't have green ones. They're all red or like very iridescent or bluish icy looking, so they will definitely fit much better the other 2 looks that I have planned. So I use Olivine and I apply this all over my lid. Let's keep this super monochromatic. This is the Urban Decay Stash pencil that definitely needs to be sharpened. Now I can apply it. It's also an olive green, and this is, as said, very monochromatic today. And I first go into the super dark olive green and smudge this directly on the lower lash line. And then I go into the lighter one and smudge it on top and underneath to just dust it out, you know. Very smoky. This look screams for glitter palette for the inner corner, and I will be using the Diamond Skin palette from Slayfire Cosmetics for that. And I already saw a shade that might fit this one here. This is Snowpal. It's a bit of a bigger glitter texture, and from what I see here in the pan, this shifts golden green, so hopefully this matches the look. But It's always very hard to capture this on camera, so I have no clue how Slayfire does that in the videos because it just looks so true to color. But I'm gonna grab some of Snowpal here and I carefully tap this on the eye. And here we have the first finished look on the lips. I'm wearing the only olive lip toned lip color that I own. This is the Rituel, the Fille Enchanted Lip Sheer from the collection with S Andromeda in the shade Medusa. It's a gray toned olive. Usually I hate olives and swamps, and this look, even without the cream shadow from Rituel, the Fille, is just nice because these olive tones in here, they have a certain undertone to them that makes them work with my skin. Usually olives turn super weird, like sick looking on me, but these look sick in the good way. But now let's head on to look number 2. I feel a bit pinky today. I'm starting with that grayish mauvey shade directly as my transition color. And I go into the light purple pink here and start to blend this on my inner crease part, and I bring it to the center. Honestly, this shade is quite unique on the eyes. I have pinks, I have purpley pinks, but this is like one of those really blue toned pink blushes, but like 10 times more intense. And then I go into the dark aubergine shade here. Aubergine, eggplant, whatever. And that one I use here on my outer V, and also of course in the outer crease for depth. So I applied a little bit of glitter glue. That is probably not necessary because I thought I had a single eyeshadow from a C Beauty brand that is in that purpley hue, but honestly all the singles that I have are either like they are not green, they're turquoisey. They are blue, like real blue, red, iridescent, see-through, but nothing, nothing that matches this vibe. So this is now, of course, the perfect excuse to grab one of my LH Cosmetics singles. You know, I love these liquid eyeshadows so much. And this is the shade Magic. It is a purple with some silver and golden specks throughout. And usually I apply these like in a very large area. So today I want to try something more different. I basically just apply this directly here on the lid. And then I take a flat brush and wipe it out and like blend that in every direction so that my whole lid is covered. And I just learned that when I use it that way, it's definitely something you need to layer because all I see is my skin and golden specks. I kind of want to match my waterline with the inner light part of that crease, so I take the ColourPop pencil in Amethyst Hour and line my waterline. Tapping now into the super dark purple, I smudge that on the outer part, just up to the center of my eye. And I wiped off this brush on the dry towel that I have, and now I go into that very interesting pink shade. And that one I start to smudge on the inner part of the lower lash line, and then swipe it slightly on top of the dark. For the inner corner highlight, I will be now using one of the C Beauty eyeshadow singles that I have. This is from the brand Sheen Effect. This was also very kindly sent to me in PR by Look Healthy store, and this is the shade White Moonlight. And from what I can at least see here in the pan, this is one of those shifty shades that is like very glittery, diamondy looking, but it seems like this shifts turquoise, so it could be a mistake to apply this, but I just want to use it. So I grab something. It's, by the way, my first time using these. I have 2 shades of them, but I just didn't came along to try them. And now let's just apply this. Ooh, interesting. All that turquoisiness that I just saw in the pan is not to be seen here in the eye. Instead, it is actually light pink. So that's definitely a match. And here we have now the second finished look. On the lips, I'm wearing the Buxom Full On Plumping Lip Cream in the shade White Russian. Very, very pretty look, very nice. It is a very classic standard purple look in my opinion, but I have nothing to criticize about that. So let's move on to look number 3, where I will incorporate the remaining blues of the palette. For the last look, I will be starting directly with that denim blue shade here. And I start to blend this in the crease, starting in the outer part and bringing it inwards, but not all the way in. And I also blend a little bit here towards my lashes. I also tapped in a second time and I want to build up that shade a little bit at least, not too much. And that one I start to blend on the inner crease part and connect it with the other blue. And with a very flimsy brush, I tap into the white and I run this here underneath the brows and mix it a little bit with the blues. This is more so to highlight that area a bit and blend away any harsh lines that could be there. It definitely gives more of an icy look. I now tap into the dark purple here. And that one I apply directly here on my lash line. And then I flick it outwards like a cat liner. I applied my glitter glue and I will now incorporate 2 different single eyeshadows. Again, one from the brand Sheen Effect. This is the shade Starry Sky, and this is, when I look into the pan, quite purpley leaning. And I also want to incorporate this one by the brand Shizhaung. This one I bought myself. They have incredible, beautiful singles. And this is the shade Cornflower. And the plan is that since this is more of a shifty shade, I want to do this on the inner half or inner third of the lid and the Sheen Effect shade on the majority of the outside lid, and then maybe this or a liquid eyeshadow for inner corner. I will see how it looks like, but I start with the shade Starry Sky from Sheen Effect. By the way, if you have those and you do not like them here in the containers, you can take them out. They're magnetic and you can put them in a single pan. Or like an empty palette, that's what I wanted to say. But here's the shadow. And I start to apply this by starting in the center of the lid and then I bring it outwards. Now let's tap into Cornflower here. And I use this to fill in the rest of the lid. Ooh, this is so glitchy and blue. And where they both meet, I just swipe it on top. The look is so icy. I want to work with a bit of contrast, you know, I just love this. And for that I take the ColourPop liner in the shade Outer Space. It's a dark denim blue, I would say, and line my waterline with that. And then I tap into the dark purple here and smudge this across the lower lash line. But I'm also going into the light blue and use this slightly underneath but still on top a bit, just for a softer blend here. I want to keep it quite smoky. For inner corner highlight, I go with another liquid shadow. This is Blink from LH Cosmetics, and if I remember that correctly, this has pinkish and blue specks of glitter throughout. Could be wrong, but I don't care because it's a beautiful color. And I never say no to a little bit of contrast, but now that I see it, I'm pretty sure it's the one with the blue specks. Yeah, blue, blue, blue. Here we have now the finished look. On the lips I'm wearing Iconic Nude from Charlotte Tilbury together with the Phantom Glossy Balm in the shade Rise. Overall, I do like this palette. It is a very, very pretty color story, and I think the name Cold Butterfly is just really serving it because it is cool toned. Even the 2 swampy greens, they do have a kind, like a small amount of cool tones in them that makes them very, very nice. And even I, who hates these type of colors usually, even I like them a lot. Is this my favorite matte formulation? Absolutely not. I think they are a little bit too dry. You know, a dry matte eyeshadow can be great because it is a powdery, it has a lot of cake back, which a lot of people annoys, but the pro of that is that they are very, very easy to blend. You do not need much, you can just very slightly tap into the pan, you have a great color pigment, and then you can very easy blend them because the pigments just break up much easier than shades that are not as dry. These though are, in my opinion, a little bit too dry, where it can happen that they can go on a little bit patchy. So they break a little bit too much, so the color like falls off of your skin, if that explanation makes any sense. But it is also not the worst eyeshadow formulation that I ever tried. I do like it. I do think though that this is definitely nothing to compare with, for example, the matte formulation of Narimi. They are just in the C Beauty world absolutely top player. This matte formulation is just the right amount of dryness and creaminess. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it kind of is what it is. I like this. I think it is a great companion palette. Definitely, I see myself grabbing this for certain looks where I need something to blend out. And I see myself also using this as my companion when I am lusting for a glitter, or when I'm lusting for one of my single eyeshadows. I also would like to use it with one of these Danessa Myricks, these shadow, no, what are they called? These little pots from Danessa Myricks. I have quite a few of them here that I barely use because other palettes just have beautiful shimmers in them. So I think this is a win. Compared to the other two palettes from Choiz Beauty that I have, I think they are a tad bit better. There is one that is called Cold Moon. That is in my maybe pile actually, because it's just a very basic color story. And the one that I have still in my collection is the Moth. And of course this has two shimmers, but the mattes in here are, in my opinion, a little bit creamier, but not too creamy. Like they still blend out very nice. So there is a difference between these formulations, and I just wish that Choiz Beauty would have gotten this formulation. Maybe I'm making this up, maybe there is really no difference, but I feel like in the blend process that these are different to the small palettes. But I don't know what exactly it is. Just when I look at this palette, I get very excited because of that weird mix of colors. I think this palette is just much more versatile than the three looks that I showed you, because I very specifically grouped now my looks per color family, but you can absolutely mix and match these. Like I can totally see incorporating this, maybe even here with the purples and with the greens, or mixing one of the pinks into the blues to just create some more hues and some more depth levels, and even neons because of that white. I do wish, but that is my absolute personal preference, that this palette would contain a black. If not a pure black, then a very dark gray. That would have been amazing color story wise. I just am not the biggest fan of white eyeshadow in palettes, because it just turns eyeshadows into, you know, as soon as you add white to a color, you instantly get a neon. You instantly get this chalky neon vibe, and that is not what I want to have. That's why I was very shy when I used it today for the blend. It is a good white. I have tried whites that are way worse than this, but I'm personal preference, just not a fan of whites in general, and I don't need them in a matte palette, honestly. I much rather would have like a beigey color that is just so much more forgiving, and that definitely has this purpose of a blending shade to manipulate colors for an easier blend, or just instead of the white, as said, a black or a very dark gray. But let me know down below, what do you think about this palette? Have you picked this up? Are you planning to pick this up? If so, check out Look Healthy store. As said, you can save 12% with my code ELLAGRAM. The palette is available there. Thank you so much to Look Healthy store for sending me this palette. I just always love to try out the new C Beauty releases. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any of the other cool videos, and I'll see you soon.